She seduced fans and critics alike with her Drowned World Tour. From Boy Toy to Material Mum, and all the stops in between.
Madonna definitely seems like a work in progress to me.
Through the controversy, the boyfriends, and the tabloids, we have watched her grow and mature over the past 20 years.
She's living her life through a woman's eye now.
A diva who does it again and again.
I always think of God, I hope I can keep coming up with the goods, and somehow it just happens.
The ever-evolving story of Madonna. Now, on People in the News. Hello and welcome to People in the News. I'm Femi OK. Today we'll be taking a look at Madonna, a material girl who absolutely refuses to dematerialize. Now, she's been around in one form or another for the last 2 decades, and there are no signs that her career is about to lose momentum. Sharon Collins joins us now to pick up her story.
43 years filled with hard work and controversy have landed her here. Madonna's Drowned World Tour was the hottest ticket of the summer, grossing $75 million.
This is a show that is sort of bordering on performance art.
As much theater as it is concert, the spectacle has generated serious buzz and stratospheric ticket prices, $3,000 for the best scalped seats. She may be a married mother of 2, but Madonna remains a pop icon. Through scandal, reinvention, and redemption, she's kept fans and critics alike interested for nearly 20 years.
She's what I call a true star. Even after all these years, I still am curious as to, I wonder what she eats for breakfast now. And that's because she's inherently interesting.
Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone was born to a homemaker and an automotive engineer on August 16, 1958. The family lived in an unremarkable suburb of Detroit.
I won't say that we were poor, but we definitely, I would say we were lower middle class, and I come from a really big family.
Named after her mother, a young Madonna worked hard to stand out in a family of 6 kids. Legend has it she would dance and sing on tabletops when the mood struck her. But tragedy rocked the world of this bubbly girl at a young age.
Many people know that her mother died when she was 5 years old. But what people don't know is just how terrible that last year of Madonna's mother's life was for Madonna.
At Adams High School in Rochester, Michigan, Madonna lost herself in theater and dance.
I was more of a dancing kid than a singing kid. I mean, I sang in school choirs and I sang in school musicals, but I was much more interested in dancing than singing.
Even as a teenager, Madonna Ciccone made sure she wasn't overlooked.
She would do stunts as a cheerleader that would, by design show her panties, or she would wear flesh-colored panties while she was doing cheer so that you would think she didn't have any on.
In high school, Madonna was a straight-A student, even then driven to succeed.
She was willing to practice a lot, study a lot. She wasn't a goof-off, and she didn't slough off. She always worked hard.
That hard work landed her a dance scholarship to the University of Michigan. But 1 year of college was enough for Madonna. She was in a hurry to get on to bigger things. So in 1978, she arrived in the heart of New York's seedy Times Square with little money and no place to live.
I danced in a lot of companies in New York for years and realized that I was going to be living a hand-to-mouth existence for the rest of my life.
As a fixture on the New York club scene, Madonna got an influential DJ to record a demo tape for her that featured a dance track called Everybody.
People would hear me sing and they'd say, hey, your voice isn't bad. And I'd say, oh, really? I mean, I never had any training. I never wanted to be a singer. That's not how I started out.
The demo tape eventually landed in the hands of Seymour Stein,
Terrific.
chairman of London's Sire Records.
I know you've been waiting.
She was singing with all her heart, and that's what came across. I was in the hospital, so I played it over and over again, and I really, really liked it. I wanted to sign her immediately.
Everybody became a hit on dance floors, and in 1983, Madonna's self-titled debut was released.
We took a holiday.
The single, Holiday, earned Madonna an appearance on American Bandstand and an infamous post-performance interview with host Dick Clark.
What are your dreams? What's left?
To rule the world.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Madonna. People have said to me, how'd you know when you say you knew she was a star? Wasn't from my listening, hearing, seeing anything. I watched the kids and they loved her. She had some sort of a kind of a bizarre outfit on. She looked different and she was different and they loved her.
Next came an unforgettable performance at the MTV Video Music Awards.
Like a virgin. Hey, touch for the very first time.
It was the perfect blend of theatrics as well as, you know, sort of like psychological warfare too. Nobody knew what to make of this new girl who was writhing around on the floor in this wedding dress.
Madonna had invaded the public consciousness and set the stage for nearly 20 years of controversy and success.
I thought she was going to be one of these rock stars who would thumb her nose at the American public for a few years and then just slink off into obscurity. But apparently she had bigger plans.
When Madonna's story continues, how she turned a steamy video banned by MTV into a marketing coup.
For you to justify my love, yearning.
Welcome back to People in the News and a look at Madonna. Back in the 80s, it was hard to turn on a television or radio and not see Madonna. She seemed to be everywhere. But this was also the decade when she added films to her list of credits. Once again, Sharon Collins.
By early 1985, Madonna's second album, Like a Virgin, and its #1 single had catapulted her to fame. It also established her as an artist out to push the public's buttons.
At the beginning of her career, she was always one step ahead of her detractors in the sense that she made a decision to present herself with a tongue-in-cheek sort of wink and a nod sense of irony.
And her fans were eating it up.
You don't have this happen like every day, do you? I mean, it must get a little crazy.
Thank God, no.
In her critically acclaimed film debut, Desperately Seeking Susan, Madonna essentially played herself.
Why don't I get some pizza and I'll meet you at home?
You've got a place?
Not exactly.
You knew it was real.
I'm working on it.
You knew that she really was this sort of boy toy material girl.
Boys may come and boys may go.
On the set of her Material Girl video, Madonna met the man she once called the love of her life. Sean Penn was an interesting choice for a woman who loved the spotlight.
During this time in her life, she was constantly surrounded by the media and by paparazzi. And she loved it. She had worked very hard to get this kind of attention. Sean, on the other hand, as he explained to me, felt that it was a real intrusion.
So much so that more than once Penn's fist landed on a photographer's face. But love won out, and on her 27th birthday in Malibu, California, Madonna became Mrs. Sean Penn in a ceremony off-limits to the media.
I didn't like the attention that, you know, the focus on the state of our marriage. I like attention when it's about the work, but not about relationships.
And he didn't like it either.
No, he hated it.
And the critics hated them in the movie they did together, Shanghai Surprise.
Wait.
Their off-screen relationship wasn't faring much better. 4 years into the marriage, things fell apart. Madonna filed for divorce on January 5th, 1989, amid rumors of physical abuse. The breakup left Madonna emotionally scarred.
She wasn't used to failures, so that was a bitter pill to swallow. It was very difficult for her.
He's an incredible human being. He's intelligent, he's talented, and even though, you know, things didn't work out for us in terms of our marriage, I don't regret marrying him for a moment.
In March of 1989, Madonna released a fourth album, her most artistically mature to date. It spawned 3 #1 singles, including the self-penned Like a Prayer.
When you call my name, it's like
The song's video came complete with burning crosses and sexual innuendo, awakening the ire of religious groups.
Well, Madonna's always had sort of a love-hate relationship with the Catholic faith. You know, a lot of what she was doing back in those years was to get attention. And also to make a certain statement that these really are just symbols, and that perhaps the Catholic faith is really about more than that.
The hype only added fuel to the fire of Madonna's stardom, a lesson the business-savvy performer would not forget. Madonna continued to express herself. A highly charged performance on 1990's Blonde Ambition tour drew the attention of law enforcement officials, as documented in the behind-the-scenes tour film Truth or Dare.
They say that you can't do the masturbation scene tonight, otherwise you'll be arrested.
Really?
Ooh.
Oh, good. Let's see what happens.
Look at that.
Her 1991 video, Justify My Love, was even too steamy for MTV. The channel refused to air the video, and Madonna refused to re-edit it. Instead, she made the video available in stores, where it went on to sell more than 500,000 copies. Her detractors saw the successful turn of events as a thinly veiled exercise in shrewd marketing.
I got the phone call the day that MTV banned the video, and it was not Madonna gleefully jumping up and down, saying, yay, yay, yay. They fell right into it at all. It was a woman saying, I've just spent 3 weeks of my life on this video, you know, and now it might not get seen at all. And then she figures out what to do. And that's what makes her a great businesswoman.
Madonna continued down the road to the dark side with the erotic thriller Body of Evidence and the publication of her intensely graphic book of fantasies titled simply Sex. The sex book's 1 million copies sold out almost immediately, but it was the first time controversy wasn't helping Madonna's career.
I published a book that was sort of an ironic, tongue-in-cheek, sticking my tongue out at society photo essay.
Take that.
So there.
Okay. Well, it worked, obviously. It sold and people reacted to
It
it.
pissed off a lot of people, too.
Yeah.
She was pushing the envelope, but she was at the same time pushing it right down people's throats.
I don't know why I get so much.
You realize this is being broadcast, don't you?
A supposedly playful appearance on the David Letterman show backfired. And a string of high-profile romances didn't enhance her reputation. Even sales of her LP Erotica were sluggish by Madonna's standards.
This was a time in her life when she was really distancing herself from her public in a way that could have proved completely damaging to a person's career had it been anybody other than Madonna.
It was time for a reinvention.
It's almost as if she can reach down, turn herself inside out, you know, she's a real chameleon, and she can do it over and over again.
In the fall of 1994, Madonna released the romantic ballad Take a Bow, appearing soft and vulnerable in the video.
The show is over, say goodbye.
It was her most successful single ever, staying at #1 for 9 weeks. At the same time, a transformation was beginning to take place in Madonna's personal life. During the filming of Evita, a role Madonna had lobbied after for years, she discovered she was pregnant. Her personal trainer, Carlos Leon, was the father. In October of 1996, Lourdes Maria Ciccone Leon, affectionately known as Lola, was born. At the age of 38, Madonna became a mother.
Every day, I'm in complete wonderment of her.
Shortly after Lourdes was born, Evita was released.
Don't cry for me.
Madonna's work on her voice and her acting paid off. In January of 1997, she was rewarded by the Hollywood Foreign Press with a Golden Globe.
And the winner is Madonna Evita.
I just feel that what's happening to me is a perfect example of you know, if you just keep on going and you put your mind to something, you can achieve anything.
Coming up, the transformation continues. Madonna gets in touch with her spiritual side and gets banned one more time.
Welcome back to People in the News, and I look at Madonna. It may be hard to reconcile materialism with spirituality, but we're about to see Madonna give it a try. Another incarnation, if you will. Once again, Sharon Collins picks up the story.
When your heart's not open.
After more than 15 years in the public eye and almost as many incarnations, Madonna Louise Veronica Ciccone emerged in the late 90s as a woman and mother in search of the deeper meanings in life.
I've studied Hinduism, I studied Buddhism, Taoism.
You believe in a supreme being?
Absolutely, but I also believe that all paths lead to God.
She's got a silver universe concretely for the
Madonna's newfound spirituality came through on her 1998 release, Ray of Light. Critics called the album the best of her career.
It sort of galvanized a great fascination, and people became really interested in what she had to say because they knew that she was saying something personal.
I traded fame for love without a second thought.
The Ray of Light track Substitute for Love spoke of a struggle to make room for real relationships in a life once defined by an intense determination to be a star. The new Madonna was a far cry from the hard-edged sexual expressionist of the early 90s.
Popular conception about Madonna is that she has reinvented herself over and over and over again, and it's often put out there as a pejorative notion in the sense that this is a woman who really has no identity.
You can fool some of the people all of the time and all of the people some of the time. It's 19 years. Come on. Give the girl credit. She's a star. Really, come on.
It's just a journey. I mean, I think she's just like everybody else. She's a work in progress. She just happens to be playing it out in front of cameras.
In 1999, Madonna received something she had craved her entire career.
You win the Grammy. Let's say you win the Grammy. I predict. Your lips to God.
Ray of Light won 4 Grammys. Her spiritual rebirth had been validated, and 1 year later, Madonna announced she was pregnant for the second time. Guy Ritchie, an edgy British film director, was the father. Rocco Ritchie was born in Los Angeles August 11th, 2000, at the same time the title track from his mom's forthcoming album Music had planted itself in the Billboard Top 40. Music, the album, arrived to raves and hit #1 in more than 40 countries. Madonna had taken chances artistically, using European producers to give her a fresh sound.
I always want to write good music, and I always, every time I go in the studio, I always think, oh God, I hope I can keep coming up with the goods, and somehow it just happens.
Madonna's private life was also flourishing. On December 21st, 2000, Madonna christened Rocco and married his dad the next day at Skibo Castle in Scotland. However, the marriage wasn't a signal that Madonna was ready to settle down entirely. With the help of her director hubby, Madonna got banned from MTV once again with the video What It Feels Like for a Girl. The clip has Madonna and her video granny on a violent tear against random and apparently innocent men. Once again, Madonna's artistic expression managed to push some buttons. On last summer's Drowned World Tour, Madonna continued to stretch herself artistically. What It Feels Like for a Girl was given a new twist, sung in Spanish. She played an instrument on stage for the first time in her career, the 6-string, a gift from husband Guy Ritchie.
I was in an airport, I wasn't down south, and a high proportion of women had cowboy hats on. I said, what's going on here? And there was a moment in her life when Madonna sported that cowboy hat. And bang, she influenced women again. She still is influencing people to this day.
Should I wait for you?
At the age of 43 and after 20 years in the spotlight, most who know Madonna think she's far from singing her swan song.
I think the artist in her will want to tour again. I don't think that you can pick up an instrument and realize, oh, well, I can play this. I don't think you can as an artist, I don't think you can watch your voice start to blossom and not want to go share that with people.
If you just look back at all the female superstars that have come and gone in the span of her career, I think it's just not a safe bet anymore to bet against her.
And for her part, Madonna has no regrets.
I wouldn't trade my life for anyone's.
Well, that brings us to the end of our look at Madonna. But before I go, I have a little confession to make. This little beauty has been sitting in my wardrobe for many years, and I have never, ever worn it. I thought today would be the perfect opportunity, but unfortunately, we are out of time. I'm Femi OK, for People in the News. Thanks for watching.